Hello.
Hey, friends.
No one's here yet.
You told me there's 23 people.
No, not watching. Just of our followers. Caitlin's here.
Yay!
Hey, Grayson's here. We're just gonna chill. Olivia's here. And
Hi,
Christina, Haley, Elizabeth. Hey, guys. Haley
Pastor
waved.
Olivia.
Pastor Olivia.
Pastor Olivia.
Madeline.
Madeline. Hey.
Hey, guys.
Ashley.
We're gonna wait a couple minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started.
Grayson waved.
We're standing too close.
No. Aubrey won't sit near me
No,
because
you
she
don't need to check in.
thinks she has to be 3 feet from me.
Okay, we need to be 3 feet away. We're fine. Heidi's here. Hey,
Hi,
Heidi.
Heidi. I love this too.
Hey,
Mighty!
guys. Mighty's here.
Mighty!
Spencer and Sophie are here.
Mighty's making snacks.
They're watching from Vienna. The
Austria.
Moldova team is in Austria watching right now.
Excellent.
Hey, guys.
Excellent.
Can I do a pin comment?
They're not actually in. Are they in Austria?
Yes, they're in Austria.
Oh, they're like stopover.
What should I have her? Jillian's here. What should I have her pinned tweet say? Welcome to 3D.
Johnny Polito. Hi, Johnny.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I don't know.
No,
how
go
to
spread
do
the word, Johnny.
I don't know
Tell
how to
everybody
do-
to come here. What are you doing?
I was trying to find how to do a pin tweet, which I can't, which is fun. Hey.
Hi, Mighty. What's for snacks, Mighty?
No snack tonight.
No snack tonight.
Sorry. Oh, there we are.
Oh. Oh
It's
dear.
kind of laggy,
Oh dear.
so just-
A little bit.
Hey guys, we're gonna get started really soon. We're just waiting for people to get on, and then we'll get started.
Send a request to 3D's live video. Oh, this is
Oh shoot.
Bree! Bree! Aww.
Aww.
Hi, Johnny Polito's mom.
Should I lower it? I'm gonna lower it a little bit.
I don't know. If I go like this.
Because then you'll be behind the comments.
Ooh.
There we go. Too close. Too close. How are you guys doing?
Pastor Margaret! Hi, Pastor
My
Margaret.
name is Martha. Yeah, Martha Polito.
Yes,
Hey.
we know, but he called her my mom, so I called her my mom. I mean, his mom.
Not your mom. Is
Not
she
my
on
mom.
here? Is she coming?
I'm sure my mother is not. My mother doesn't have Instagram.
Caitlin's here. Hey,
We
Caitlin.
suggested my mom look at Instagram, but she hasn't
Not yet.
taken to it yet. Pastor Joe
Or Christy.
or
Or
Christy. If it's Pastor Joe, we can say yo Pastor Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're making fun of me.
No, you're. Oh,
It's okay.
that's unfortunate.
Don't pay attention to that. We're fine.
Oh no.
Hey. You don't have to check in. Come on. Come on. Both are here. Yay.
Excellent.
Laughy face. Yay. We're so glad you guys
like
are here.
that, or is that
Okay.
just on yours?
It's just on mine. Can you guys hear us okay? Is the live stream working? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Seems to be working pretty well.
We should do this every Sunday. Well, that's a great suggestion.
Oh, thumbs up. Hearts, yes.
Oh.
Madeline. Thank you, Olivia.
So she gave us this one.
Nicholas, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If
It says it's Nick.
If you don't normally join us on 3D, go ahead and type your name in so we know who you are.
Yeah.
Alex. That's Alex. I know Alex.
Alex, who? I mean, where's
Rick?
Alex?
He's the cat.
Oh.
All right,
Alex
we'll
is the
wait
cat.
just a couple more minutes for people to get on.
SMH that girl too. I agree.
Ben's here too. Yay!
Yay!
Of course.
Hi, Ben. He's the cat.
Yes, I'm the cat. Yep.
Yep.
What does your username mean, Alex? I've always wondered.
Pickly.
Scoto
How do you think you said that?
Scoto Pickly?
Scoto Pickly.
Scoto Pickly.
Let's play a game.
What should we play? Do you guys know Johnny Whoops? Do it at home. Do you know Johnny Whoops?
I do.
Oh shoot, that would have been good.
But I'm too hip and I've seen it.
Johnny Whoop, Johnny Whoop, Johnny. Duck Duck Goose. No. Oh my gosh, you can't. I don't know how many times I tell her first.
Go. Hey, Billy.
Billy, and I think that's
Hide and seek.
I don't know who that is. Where's Sarah?
Okay.
Okay, he's explaining his username, relating to or denoting vision in
Oh.
dim light. Because he is a photographer, a photog. Sweet.
Interesting. Who's Bear Claw Jr.?
I don't know. Bear Claw Jr. Who
Bear
are
Claw
you?
Jr. Is that like because of hunting or because of donuts?
Thumbs up for hunting, heart for donuts.
Oh, look, now they're just finding that out now.
Maddox! Maddox is here. He's Bear Claw Jr.
Does he like hunting or?
I don't know.
We'll find
I don't know.
out. Let's hope.
I'm really good at knowing all the kids and their usernames.
Is that
That is Kelly. Yep. That is Kelly. And Elizabeth, I'm
Tell
guessing,
us a joke.
too.
You know I only know
Ugh.
I only know one joke.
What's the joke? Tell us.
I know a couple, but my favorite is what did Batman say to Robin before he got in the Batmobile?
What?
Hey Robin, get in the Batmobile.
That's good.
Courtney! Cause
I don't stalk you. I just remember.
Robert, do you have a joke?
Let me think. How come? Hold on. I gotta think of it. I gotta make sure I get it right. Oh shoot! What is it?
It's not a good joke.
Yeah, I can't remember it.
It's a terrible
I'm really
joke.
bad at remembering jokes. It's something about a dinosaur, and he goes, "Cause they're all dead."
Oh, hey.
So that's the punchline.
Hey, why couldn't the T-Rex clap?
Because he's dead.
It
was something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a joke. I love
yeah.
dinosaur jokes and dinosaurs, so.
Worship? Have at it. Aubrey's up. Sing us a song, girl.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes. That's all I could think of.
Fort Coach K joined.
Is that Kermit? Where's your small group, Kermit? Where's James? Where's who else is in there? Casey and
Yep.
Isaac.
They said sing.
What was left after the cheese factory burned down? What, Haley? She knows so many good jokes.
Nacho cheese. Burnt
No,
cheese.
she's told us this before. I can't remember what it is. What is it?
They small. Oh, the small group is small. Where's your small group? They
Nothing
small.
but debris. That's right.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Okay, 1 minute and we'll get started.
In 1
1 minute,
minute.
we'll get started. So invite people that aren't on here yet to jump on and join us for 3D Live. Sarah just left, but she'll be back, I think. Oh. Avery.
I'm nervous.
Sarah's making sure her nose is clean. Just so you guys know.
It is. It's fine. It's fine. My nose is fine. My nose is fine. Nose is good.
If you're not on here, join. All right, we're gonna get started. 3D. Thanks for joining us on our Instagram Live. I'm here with Sarah Kinzer. A lot of you guys know Sarah Kinzer. She's the wife of Kermit, or Gary Kinzer, who is the 9th grade boys small group leader. And she's also Frank's mother.
I am.
So, Frank, if you're out there, shout out. So tonight Sarah's going to be talking about, we're starting a new series called Culture Shock. And so we're going to talk for 3 weeks about some really important things that we believe you guys are experiencing in culture, and some countercultural perspectives on those things. So tonight we're going to talk about social media right here on Instagram, which I think is awesome. It's perfect. And Sarah is really passionate about social media. It's really close to her heart. And so she's really excited to share with you guys tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and we're going to get started.
Hey, okay, so she said some of you might know me, but in case you don't, I've got a little intro for you. So,
alrighty, I gotta find it. We are doing slides tonight, people. It takes. Is this one? Yeah.
Yeah.
My name, my age, my favorite color,
Purple.
my height, my sign. Do I have a
Coach
lover?
K, becoming a lover.
What's my nationality? Here's some things that inspire me.
Excellent, excellent.
Okay, let's get out.
My name, my age.
And why don't you do the one, like, if you want to know who I am, what I'm like, what it's like to be Sarah Kinzer. I have another one.
I'm gonna dance like nobody's watching. Nobody's watching, so I'll dance like I don't even care. I'm gonna move like it's not an option. I put my hands in the air, keep 'em there.
Yeah. And I have one more about how I feel about being here, talking tonight as the children's director, talking to you guys about social media.
Hello, hello. I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
So that's who I am. I do have a couple TikToks I've made. It is, good fun, I think. But before we get talking about social media, this series is on living counterculturally. So maybe you've heard the term counterculture before, and maybe you haven't. If you have, you might have some split opinions about it. Like, you may feel you understand that the church tells you should live counterculturally. Like, it's a good thing. Like, they're telling you to make good choices and not do what the world does. But you also might feel like the church is telling you, like, don't hang out with your friends, live in a bubble, have no fun. The challenge when we hear the church talk about counterculture is that it can feel very much like us versus them language, and it fits the broken image that society has when they look at the church right now. Like, society looks at the church, and in many cases they might think, you don't want to be like us? Fine, we don't want to be like you. And so it feels very anti-people, or it can feel. The church is absolutely built on the call to be countercultural. It's like that phase, why worry about fitting in when you were created to stand out? The church was created to stand out from the world. But some might look at the church today and think that in our effort to be countercultural, what we've really accomplished is just being against the people who make up the culture around us, and that's not great. Like, if you feel that way, don't worry. That's not what we're talking about. But before I start talking about how being countercultural applies to social media, I'm going to define what Jesus means when he calls us to live countercultural lives. So the first book in the New Testament is Matthew, where we first meet Jesus, and it goes a little like this. Jesus is born, he's a kid, he has a cousin, he goes out in the desert for 40 days, he calls his disciples, he heals some people, and then he starts to talk. And so the first time he talks to a whole group of people, we call it the Sermon on the Mount. But it really could also be retitled The Call to Counterculturalism. You can find that in Matthew chapters 5-7. And it sets the tone for what Jesus teaches for the rest of his life. Jesus says over and over, you've heard it said that, but I tell you. And what you're hearing when he says this is, I'm telling you to be or do the opposite of what the world has told you to be or do. So,
Next video?
Yeah.
How are we supposed to do this? Are we like, which way do you go?
Up and down, girl.
But I've seen people do it left to right.
That's not the right way.
Who said?
Jesus.
Excellent. Well, I want to suggest that the kind of counterculture that Jesus calls us to is not about identifying and avoiding those who do or look like the things we see is wrong. The kind of counterculture that God calls us to is looking at a broken and fallen world, reflected in a broken and fallen culture around us and saying, it isn't supposed to be like this. The kind of counterculture that God calls us to is to look at a fallen and broken world, and then it is moved and it acts out of compassion. So that brings me to the topic at hand tonight, social media. And I know you're thinking, like, thanks, Pastor Olivia, for getting the children's director to come and lecture us about social media. Like, you might feel kind of like this.
I might just go psycho. Too many drunk white hoes. I might just go psycho.
Before I get down to business, I want to say a few things. If your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or auntie or uncle or Farmer Joe or whoever is in charge of you has set boundaries and guidelines for you as it applies to social media, I'm all about that. And I'm going to tell you 100% of the time, you have to follow their rules. Please do not turn around and say to your mom and dad, I saw Sarah Kinzer make a TikTok, and so therefore I should get to make TikToks. And if they come to say to you, my kids said that they could do whatever they wanted on the internet, I'm going to say, wait, I gave this disclaimer at the beginning. You have to follow the rules of the people who are in charge of you. And so then secondly, when I think of social media, I think about it sort of like it's a location. In my mind, it's similar to going to school or to work or to the store or church or anywhere else. I think of it like just another location. This morning in his sermon, Pastor Adrian said, technology is not inherently bad. Technology is neutral. And I'm starting from a similar point of view. Social media is not inherently bad. Social media is neutral. However, the difference between going to school or work or the store or the church or any of those other places, the difference between those places and social media is that to get to those other places until you are a certain age, you have to be driven there by someone else who is of age and who is accepting responsibility for you. If I pulled up next to you at a stoplight and I look and there you are and you're 12 years old and you're driving a car by yourself to go, to Target or whatever, I'm going to think you shouldn't be in that situation. And also, when you go to some place in the real world, there's always the chance that you're going to run into someone you know. If you have this reputation of being like the baddest dude on the block and you pull up to a movie theater to watch Little Women, like you might stop for a second and consider, is going out to this movie worth affecting my street cred? Like maybe I should wait till it hits Netflix. Social media allows us to go places without stopping to consider, is this someplace I actually should go? So with those conditions, with the condition that you have to listen to the boundaries placed on you by the adults in charge of you, and that bit of introduction to how I view social media, I'm going to look at a few ways that we can live counterculturally as it applies. So our first way, you've heard it said that creating the right aesthetic is important, but I tell you that God made you unique, perfect for his plan and his purpose in your life. If you look at social media, you can see that an aesthetic, this certain look or persona that a person aims for and builds their life around, it's a desirable thing. That's not new. Like when I was growing up, there were groups of people who dressed the same and looked the same and talked the same. There were kids who listened to grunge music and they had like flannel shirts, and there were goths who wore the trench coats, and there were preps, and there were like girls who dressed like they were in Clueless. Social media did not create this concept, it has just amplified it. The thing that social media does is it gives us this constant stream of this is what this pack looks like and talks like and shops like and votes like and thinks like. And some of those things will be positive, but some of those things will be negative. It's finding a style that you like a musical preference or a pattern of speech or a vibe or a water bottle that you like, are those things inherently wrong? No. But while the rest of the world is conforming to an image created or manufactured by a couple of people or by a company, a business looking to sell products, I'm telling you this: God didn't make you to be someone else. God designed you and everything about you to be perfect for his plan and his purpose in your life. You don't believe me? Listen to this. Psalm 139 says, "You created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." You are not an accident. Jesus talks about it like this. He says, "Even the very hairs of your head are all numbered." God made you perfect to his plan and his purpose in your life, not to be a copy of someone else. Living counterculturally asks, am I being who God created me to be? Our second way is, you have heard it said that getting clout means you've made it. But I tell you that God left the 99 to save the one. I know there are a lot of opinions on the word clout. It can have sort of a fake sound to it, like it's fake fame or fake popularity, or it's real popularity, but maybe the person might have gotten it by doing something not great, something wrong, like exploiting another person's trouble or telling a lie. But we all know what I'm talking about. It's the like button, the heart, driving up those numbers. So there was this scientist, and I'm hoping they still teach you about him. His name was Pavlov, and he trained dogs to drool when they heard a bell. I mean, there's a little more to it than that, but that's basically what it boils down to. He rang a bell and saw that the dogs did not drool. And then he presented them with food at the same time as he rang the bell, and then they did drool, and then he took the food away and he rang the bell. And because they related the bell to getting food, they drool. Our phones are doing a fantastic job of training us like that. They ding and we grab them. They vibrate and we grab them. And what is the equivalent to dog food in this situation? It's likes. It's attention from others. We relate that tiny ding to a happy feeling and we rush to eat it up. We react physically, chemically to whatever gives us pleasure, and we're trained by it. That's how addiction works. Addiction is just your brain being trained to chase the happy. And because our hearts, because what we're after is likes or heart or clout, and it's representative of social approval, that's what we're training ourselves to be addicted to. It's good to feel pleasure. God designed us to feel pleasure. However, social media is and has trained us to chase more and more social approval. It's trained us to chase clout. It has trained us to have a single focus on the 99 and not to notice the one. In Luke 5, Jesus tells this story. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Does God love the 99? Absolutely. And the people listening to that story would have understood that shepherds work in teams. So when the shepherd leaves the 99, he's leaving them in a safe situation with other shepherds watching them. He's free to go after the one. When he watches his flock, he pays attention to each and every sheep. He knows each and every sheep, and he will notice when one is off course, and he goes after it. He protects the 91, but he chases the one. When you look at how you interact with social media, living counterculturally asks the question, am I chasing after 99? Our next point is, you've heard it said, speak your truth. But I'm here to tell you, truth is not relative. When I was in college, I started to hear this message. Is it true for you? Or that might be true for you, but not true for everybody. And so this message has grown and settled deeply into our culture. Today it sounds like this, like you do you, or speak your truth no matter what. The problem arises when we start to notice that this person's truth is so wildly different from that person's truth that they can't both possibly be truth. Either one is right and one is wrong, or they're both wrong. In John 14:6, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus is clear that truth is a fixed point. And the point that it is fixed upon is him. What the world is trying to say is that it doesn't want to hurt anyone's feeling or make them feel judged, and I get that. But if a train is coming on your track, I'm going to tell you about it, whether or not you think you're standing on tracks, and whether or not you don't even believe in trains. It's going to be important. But I'm not only talking about the truth we speak to others, I'm talking about the truth that Jesus speaks to us. We have little room to speak truth if we are unwilling to hear it ourselves. I talked earlier about the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5. I can't deny that the language Jesus uses there when speaking to people who knew the law, it's hard language. He challenges those people and he challenges us to live to a higher standard. He says even, be perfect, therefore as your heavenly Father is perfect. Perfect? Like, okay, but he didn't really mean perfect, right? Let's go back to the train analogy. What good am I going to serve the other person on the tracks with the train coming up behind him if I'm standing on my own set of tracks with a train coming up behind me? First, I need to get myself out of danger, and then I'm free to help the other person out. If we claim to know Jesus, if we walk around in t-shirts referencing our faith, if we want to post things online that set us up to be known as Christian, then we had better be ready to evaluate ourselves against Jesus' teaching and prepare ourselves for God to work some things out in our own lives. Living counterculturally as it applies to social media means we ask ourselves, does this thing I'm about to post or send match up with what Jesus taught? You've heard it said that your body is yours to choose how you present it. But I tell you that your body is not your own. And I can almost feel y'all rolling your eyes. But I'm not talking about tank tops and the length of your shorts. This honestly is an area that can feel confusing to me. No one thinks that I should be showing up to work in my bathing suit. But if I dressed for work and went to the beach, they would find that really weird. And speaking of bathing suits, it occurs to me every summer that people are perfectly comfortable walking around in two pieces, but they would be humiliated if someone saw them in their underwear. The only difference is the type of fabric. So perhaps the real issue is not if you wear shorts that reach past your fingertips or not. Perhaps the way we should think goes back to the idea of social media as just another place that you go. Is the way you're presenting your body appropriate for the location? Just like I wouldn't show up at work in my bathing suit, I wouldn't dream of showing up at the pool in my underpants. I wouldn't wear those things on social media either, because it's not the right place for those things. The Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 6, do you not know that your bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. Living counterculturally, as it applies to social media, means you ask, is the way I'm representing my body how God would have me representing the body he made in this situation? You've heard it said, it's just entertainment. But I tell you, it's food. Like, it's no big deal. It's just supposed to be fun. It's just supposed to be lighthearted. Like, I don't know why you're taking it all so serious. Like, it's just supposed to be funny. I don't know what the big problem is. I mean, we've all heard that, right? I'm going to read this to you from 1 Corinthians. It says, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up. I'm going to read it in a different version, just in case you missed it. I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything's beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. I'm not coming at you with this like I'm not needing to hear it myself. Pastor Adrian said it in his sermon this morning, and a few days ago I heard Pastor Billy, who's going to be speaking to you next week, say it like this. It's called a feed for a reason. Can you go anywhere on social media? Probably. Can you watch and say or do anything you want on social media? Sure. But that doesn't mean that everything out there and everything you put out there is good or good for you. Y'all, I want to come back around to what counterculture means. Jesus absolutely asks us to live counterculturally, and if we say we follow him, then we have to be committed to living a life like this? I've given you a lot of information tonight. I've pointed to a lot of different places in the Bible. And I want to close up this time by reminding you that being countercultural is not about hating people who are outside of the church and not caring if you make yourself out to be a hypocrite in their eyes. It's about seeing it's about seeing things and saying, that's not the way it was meant to be. What's the takeaway? How do we live countercultural lives? It's actually pretty easy. I'm going to give it to you in 3 easy steps. First, recognize when something happens and you can look at it and say, it shouldn't be like this. Second, ask yourself, how does God want this to be? And third, act accordingly. It's really that easy. It does matter. So that's what I got for you on social media, living counterculture life.
Yes, I love that. So we're going to open it up for a couple questions for Sarah. If you guys have any questions about social media. I have one question for you, though, that I was thinking about. Because I don't 100% know. What is clout?
Oh, it's like
Define clout for me. I have an idea of what it is, but I don't know 100%.
like notoriety.
Notoriety?
Yeah.
So where did clout come from? Where did that word come from?
Why are you looking for like the etymology of the word clout?
I don't know. It's fascinating because I started hearing it more recently, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of get it. It's like,
Well,
fame.
So I'm all the I'm the TikTok expert and all because I've made like 7. I've made 7 TikToks, so I'm an expert now.
Nice.
But if you there'll be people who post things on TikTok, and then in the comments you'll see someone who says, "Oh, well, you're just using that for clout." It's to get people to like your stuff, follow you.
So where did clout come from?
From the dictionary.
So someone just opened it up, was like, I'm going to take clout, and that's what I'm going to run with it. That's what my thought is on it.
You've got to ask someone younger than me.
Where did clout come from, guys? Where did clout come from? Can you tell me? And if you have...
Hey, youths of today.
Aubrey said the song. She said the song.
Oh, the song.
I don't know what
that
is.
I know that, too. I was going to tell you should ask Epsiba, so...
7 is pretty much viral. What does that mean? I don't know. My feed.
So, no...
7 is that the song?
My feed.
I love that.
Brother.
Okay, so Cardi B. Man, I'm glad I asked.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Any questions for Sarah?
The streets.
We can take a couple questions before we sign off. Or comments.
Or...
Should I do this? Questions for you. We'll find show up here.
Oh.
Okay, cool.
People started...
2 to 3 years ago.
2 to 3 years ago.
I don't know.
I'm not...
Where was I?
I don't... Well, in college?
Yeah, I guess.
They didn't say that in college?
Pastor Olivia has a question. She said, is social media a productive place to share the gospel? That's a really good question. I love that.
Well, I think that there are 2 different, I guess, opinions on that, 2 different viewpoints of it. I know that, like, I have watched people who have used social media to effectively present the gospel and to speak God's truth. But I also know that there are people who don't feel like a really good connection to the whole social media thing. And it is important to be present in people's lives and to connect with people because, just being in someone's lives matter. Being in someone's life matters. Mm-hmm. Showing up for them matters. Mm-hmm. And it's in that showing up for people that you really prove the gospel to be true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's an importance to speaking the gospel, but I think there's an importance to being the gospel as well. I think sometimes we get wrapped up in being the gospel or speaking the gospel that we forget about the other. So yeah. Spencer asked, what are your thoughts on fake Instas or Finstas?
Oof.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on fake Instas?
My favorite Finsta is Pastor Julie's Finsta. which I think is completely harmless and fun. I think it depends on the context. I think it depends on what you're posting.
I mean, or the reason you made it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if you've made it so that you can, I mean, if you can make it so you can slide under the radar so that mom and dad can't
Right.
see that you're posting nonsense.
Yeah.
It goes back again to like going to a different location. Like if you're trying to go to a secret location, it sort of makes me want to know what you're trying to hide.
Yeah.
But also,
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up when I went to the Spill Sarah.
Because about Finstas.
Oh, when I grew up, like I would go out on a Friday night and my mom and dad didn't follow me. Like I could go to the ice rink and like skate to slow songs with nobody. I didn't skate with anybody. But if I wanted to, or if that opportunity had arrived, my mom or dad wasn't following me around. And national media. Oh.
Yeah. Answer
Okay.
that. That's a good one. Keep answering that one, and we'll go to that one.
Well, anyway, my mom and dad didn't follow me around.
Yeah.
You need a Finsta to post your favorite SpongeBob videos. Oh dear. I would hide that. So I say it's okay if you're posting SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Because, what is it? National media is negative 99% of the time. We complain about it. Social media is our chance to have our own media. Why then is 99% of it negative? Oof.
That's good. Bringing it.
I think that part of it is like people see all the negativity instead of wanting to speak positivity into it, which I think is absolutely what we should be doing. They just turn and walk away. And when you and I get that it's more comfortable just not to engage, and it is wise in a lot of situations not to engage.
Preach.
But there's a lot that if you take your voice out of a conversation, then you have no voice in the conversation. So you can't complain that there's only negativity if you're not doing your part to put positivity out there.
That's one thing I wonder is why I find absolutely no enjoyment in reading or posting negative things. So when I see people posting just terrible things, like either that's actually happening or happened to a person or their experience in their life, I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, for me, it just is not something I want to be fed with.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it because people have really hard. There's instances in their life that are really difficult, and they want to share about that, and I totally get that as well.
If you're looking at the diet on our feed, and we're saying there's only junk on this, and there's only like unhealthy food on here. Like, what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. Alex asked, "What does accountability look like when it comes to social media?"
As it applies to teenagers, because social media isn't something that is like just the youths of today are on. Like old people like me also enjoy the social media, and so how does it apply to you guys? I mean, if you want to have a SpongeBob Finsta, I suppose have a SpongeBob Finsta, but it's being what's the word I want to say? Like, if you're putting it out there,
people are gonna see it.
I know. Like, check what you're putting out there. You're gonna want to say, is this like who I am presenting? If your social media forces you to live a double life, then it's not a good social media experience.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, if you've got to hide stuff from, I mean, I don't want to say just your parents, but if you're like, I can't let my people at church know that I've got this other account. I can't let certain friends know I've got this. I can't let the teachers know I've got that. I mean, if it's all about hiding stuff, then maybe it's not the best experience.
Yeah. My sister asked, "What do you feel about posting about struggling, but then referring to relying on God through struggles? Or are posts asking for prayer okay?"
Yeah, I think
That's
those are
good.
fine.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't love when people post, like sort of like they vague book, you know?
He just asked, discuss vague booking.
Hey! It's not.
I've never heard that term in my life.
You've never. Are you kidding me?
I've never heard of that. What's vague booking?
Please don't. Do
Is
you
that
want the
like
etymology of vague booking?
Is that
It's
like
been
don't?
out for
Is that
years.
like don't at me?
No.
Or is
Vague
that,
booking is like, I have something very serious going on in my lives. I wouldn't want to share it here because it would really just depress everybody, and I don't want to depress everybody, so I'm not going to tell you the details of it, but I'm just asking for thoughts and prayers. I'm going to say that's not my favorite and not the best use of social media. I mean, of course we shouldn't be putting all of our stuff out there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but
I think it's fine. Like if you're sharing, because Facebook used to be your friends, and now it's kind of extended. Well, Facebook and Instagram extended past just people being your friends. But I think like there are some like living far away from people like genuinely want to know what's going on in your life and like what type of thing you're dealing with and just so that sort of thing. So I think in that way it can be fine because I think it really helps people to encourage you in times that you need encouragement.
mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Haley doesn't know what vague booking is
I know.
either. I just have never heard that term, but I get that. Subtweeting, that's what I'm thinking. Subtweeting is when you're talking about somebody, but you're not actually like adding them. You're just talking about it.
Don't at me.
Max is on. I had another question I thought. Maybe not.
Is there a
Clickbait equals vague booking.
I mean, sort of. Did you
I
push this
suppose
button
so.
earlier and it
That's like where all the questions are.
isn't that what you're looking for? No.
Well, I'm just
Oh,
looking
'cause
on here. So you guys know, Pastor Olivia is currently in the airport in Vienna, Austria. She's on her way back. That's why she's not here. That's why it's just me and my good friend Sarah. But she'll be back really soon. And so she'll be joining us hopefully next week. But yeah, I think she's still watching. So shout out to Pastor Olivia.
Yeah.
Who is been on quite a journey, I'm sure, and we're super excited to have her back home. Any more questions? We can take like one or two more, and then we're gonna sign out for the night. No snack, sorry. We're gonna have Krispy Kreme donuts.
I know. I was gonna say, should we tell them it was gonna be donuts or?
Sorry.
There's some donuts over here in the hub. On the counter, there's half a box of donuts, but I can't eat them. Only Aubrey can eat them.
Yeah.
And so there's also some frosted animal crackers in a bucket, and I can't eat those. Only Aubrey can eat them. And she told me there's some pretzels under the counter, and I can't eat those. Only Aubrey can eat those. So the moral of the story is, if we get locked in the church, I'm gonna starve to death.
There's food. Oh, Joanna asked a question. That's right. Let me scroll back up. This is good. What about safety when it comes to posting locations? This is a really good parent question. I like this.
So, I wish we had Sabrina here.
Yeah.
Because she spoke at Winter Retreat, and she spoke about having your location turned on, and that it makes it really easy for people to find you, and people who are not out for who don't have good intentions can come find you. I think just checking in places, I would advise against doing that. I mean, it just gives more information than the general public needs to know. The general public and like everyone you've ever met does not need to know that you're not at your house, because I mean, you wouldn't imagine I'm going to be Facebook friends with someone who's going to come break in my house. This is not a great youth example. It's because they're not really worried about their houses like that. But you know, if you post I'm at Subway and checked in, and then people all over who you don't want coming and bothering you will come bother you, or could come bother you. Mm-hmm. You know, like the girl that sits behind you in math class who just happened to show up at Subway. You know, it just allows for things to move that wouldn't naturally move that way.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think there's a way to turn on Find My iPhone though, without like having to share location, but maybe not. I could be wrong. We have a couple more.
Say about?
He said,
Just so you know, when you post locations, people could steal all your stuff at home or come steal you where you're at. That's what I said. He says things shorter than me.
Johnny asked a good question. How has social media affected people's view on the church?
I feel like I should ask them that.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
How has social media affected people's view of the church? I think, you know, it's one of the things I like to say is that, and Adrian mentioned the printing press this morning because it allowed information to go mobile, I think is what he talked about. But social media has allowed what I call the pulpit in the pocket. Like, everybody has a voice, everybody can speak into anything they want, and they all talk like they're experts on it, and they all present very definitive statements like, this is the way it is. And that might not be the way it is. It goes back into you've heard it said, like, you do you and speak your truth. Like, they're acting, they can be speaking truth if it's based on the Word of God, but they also might not be. And when they put that out there, there's so many messages that I don't think, and at the same time, like when Christians get involved in drama online and nonsense, that does not look good. And that sort of stuff, I mean, the Bible talks about it. It talks about not arguing. It talks about lawsuits between believers and how to resolve conflicts between believers. Like, the Bible talks about that stuff because it just does not look good. But I mean, I also know that there are positive social medias and positive people on social media who impact that space, that location, in a good way for the gospel, a good way for the church. And I think it's up to each of us individually how we take on that responsibility and what we do with the responsibility we have to speak positivity, to speak God's truth, and to impact it. It matters how the world, I mean, it matters how we portray the truth, and it matters how we represent the church.
Yeah, I think, like, any church, any organization that uses social media sets themselves up for criticism. That's just how it is. But it also kind of holds us to a higher standard. So it's like, we know that we're being seen on platforms other than in the church building, which is how it used to be. And so I think that can be a good thing, but it's also going to be a hard thing for Christians and people that work in ministry. Ashley asked, what would you say to people who feel like posting something, but they feel like they'll be judged by people from church? That's a really good question.
Do you have an immediate response to that one?
I don't.
Okay. Thanks. I mean, what I would say to anybody posting anything is stop and evaluate. Before you post, stop and think. Is this true? Is this, what is it? Oh, back in when I worked for the preschool, there was always like, stop, think before you say anything. It was like, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?
Yeah.
But it spells out think, but I've missed a few. Missed a few letters. That's only 3 letters. But stop and consider, is this what I want to put out in the world? If it is, the church is made up of a wide variety of people. And you can see, I mean, that's all the way back from the 12. The 12 disciples were all a wide variety of people who were just polar opposites of each other. So if, you know, Matthew had an Instagram, I'm sure he would have posted something that offended Judas or somebody.
Like, and what you could be posting could be completely innocent. Like, my mom was telling me a story about how she like posted her Facebook cover photo was like of cats. And she said she got more comments on people being like, oh, so you're a cat person. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with like liking cats or like posting something about cats, but people have an opinion about cats. And so that just is going to be a part of it. So I guess it's just like being attentive to the criticism you're getting. Like, who is giving you the criticism? Is it someone you love and admire or someone that is just a rando?
Yeah.
You know?
What's the etymology of the word rando?
I don't know. It's short for random.
Yeah, I
random
know.
person.
I have, well, I'll say, do you know that, I recently heard a study that shows that it is more likely for Christians to own dogs than and it is more likely for atheists to own cats.
Interesting.
That's just an interesting study I heard recently. I don't have enough information to, and I really like, I mean, I like them both.
I don't think there's a correlation there at all.
There's not. It's just,
Oh my gosh.
it just came to my head, and it was on Phil Vischer, the
Gotcha.
VeggieTales guy,
Gotcha.
talked about it.
I don't know if they know. All
He's
right.
amazing.
This is our last question. So has social media affected society in more of a positive manner or a negative manner? That's a great question to end on.
Do you have an immediate response, Aubrey?
I honestly want to say both. Like I think it's split even.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. I think there's a lot of good that has happened on social media, and it's helped. I mean, we can do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is so cool and it's positive. I think it's just changed it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think there's as much opportunity for positivity as there is for negativity.
Double-sided.
What did he say?
He says it can't be double-sided. It's a gray matter, I feel like.
I mean, it's social media. Like, this is what I started with. Social media is neutral. So social media, I guess, then therefore has not impacted anything either way because it is neutral. But the people on it.
He said pick one.
Do you want to say positive and I'll say negative? And we'll just
Sure. Positive.
negative.
I think, yeah. I think there's technology is both really good and really, like, I think about like how God knew about social media, like from the beginning of time. He knew about it. And like he knew what it was going to be used for, and he, like, what do we talk about? Enemy ground can be used for good.
Yeah.
Or can be a good a place. We talked about that like in our life group, I think. About how God can turn something that is intended to be used for evil to be used for good.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it's, I mean, it really has, I was really impressed, or it really was impressed upon me. I don't know. It's just really interesting that on this week, we had planned this out months ago. To have this topic be the topic of today.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time that that 3D is coming at you live. Coming at you live. Live
We usually are
streaming.
live, but this is the first time.
Oh, yeah. Via the interwebs.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost somebody. Is it because I said,
No.
because I said
Oh my
at you
goodness.
live. Okay. Well,
Yes, thanks for joining us. Sarah's going to close us out. She's got a quick word and a prayer for you guys, and then we're going to be out. I just want to remind you that I did send out some discussion guides that Sarah made up for you all. There's one that you can do with your parents, and if there's any parents watching, you can do it with your students. And then there's an individual guide that will also work as like a small group discussion guide. So if you want to like message with your small group or like video chat, I think I heard one group is going to do that. Those are on Remind, and I sent an email as well to your parents. So make sure to check those out. Go ahead and close this out, Sarah.
so the last point that do you turn? Oh, okay. The last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, I wanted to take a second and address the situation we're in. And I know that a lot of you probably have anxiety and concern or worry over what's going on around us. And I really wanted to encourage you. Sorry. It's
See ya.
I really wanted to encourage you guys to take heart. This hasn't surprised God, and He is in control. And I wanted to encourage you, while you are practicing social distancing, to also practice healthy habits as it applies to social media. There was one of the first days that probably one of the first days that when it was coming in, the virus hit Virginia. I spent a lot of time going through articles and reading what other people had to say and looking at the panic that was going through my feeds, and it caused anxiety in me that was just stuff I was picking up off other people. You know, I knew that God was still in control. I knew I knew the things I could do to protect myself and to protect my family and to be responsible so that I could help protect other people. I knew the truth as it applied to this situation, but I allowed other people's words on social media and on that feed to impact how I felt. And there was a day that I spent time that I thought, I'm going to speak positivity on social media so that everybody's not flying through and they have nothing but negativity. And so that's one response, is that when you interact with social media over the coming days while we're practicing social distancing, please speak positivity, post positively. And then there was a third day that I got up in the morning and I opened up my social media feed and just thought, oh my goodness, I am so frustrated by the things that I'm seeing. And I shut it down and I put it away. And I'm sure that I checked my phone throughout the day, but I didn't stay on the feed and I didn't read the articles that it was telling me to read. I didn't let it control me. And I got to the end of the day and I just felt at peace. I felt better. I had more enjoyable time with my family. I had more enjoyable conversations with my friends. And so I just want to encourage you to be very thoughtful and intentional with having healthy habits and healthy boundaries and putting positivity out in the social media world over the coming days and weeks. So, yeah.
And like positivity that's like because of who we know and love, like because of our God. I see so many people are like, send positive thoughts, and it's like we have the most positive thoughts of anybody to give. So yeah, just keeping that in mind as well. Yeah, thanks for all the love, guys.
Yeah.
So Sarah's gonna pray for us and then we're gonna be done.
All right. Okay. All right. God, I want to thank you that you have given me the opportunity to talk to these people in this way tonight. I thank you that you were not surprised by any of this, and that you are still in control. Father, I pray that you will protect the people who currently are sick. I pray that you will give the healthcare workers the resources that they need, and that Father, I pray that you will use this to draw people closer to you, that you will show your glory through all of this. We trust you. We love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. See you guys. Bye. We only had 1 minute left. Did it right.